Good morning. It's Wednesday, September 8th. So clearly I was in a funk yesterday. And you know, it's funny. It's just funny, right? I mean, how I'm choosing to look at synchronicities and how I'm looking at what's going on around me, what's been going on for the past year. Was I gonna get emotional? You know, there's something to be said about anniversaries regarding loss. So tomorrow, and at the same time, it's like this loss and rebirth, right? This death and rebirth process of like how you look at a situation. It's all about perception. And so I'm not exempt. Clearly, I'm not exempt from having wounds to heal. And even as I'm diving into therapy again, being aware of that, right? And I mean, I've always been great at being able to separate, you know, what's going on with my clients, what's going on with them, what's going on with me. And but just as humans, because that's what we all are, right? Humans. You know, life is life, and we're gonna get triggered. So tomorrow is that for me. And even just, I think a big piece of it too is still being, you know, it's that thing, that whole concept of like, I'm stuck at home. I'm stuck at home because I'm sick. So I'm choosing to not go outside, right? To explore my city. I'm having to entertain myself, and I'm usually pretty good at it. But what I'm choosing to entertain myself with is taking this birth chart class and trying to like make use of my time, right? And so it's just I can get into this rabbit holes, you know, like, and the funny thing is that yesterday when I was driving back, because I had to move my car, right? I saw the signs. I saw it and I knew too. I was like, oh. So I think I mentioned it before, people who are, I guess, of this awareness of this world are not afraid of the number 666, right? They're not afraid of this number 666. And the people who don't understand it, right? Or have this belief of what that number represents, fear it. I mean, what are the chances that I see that number twice? Or maybe more. I probably saw it more. I think I probably just stopped counting. and you know, it really is this awareness of like, where are your thoughts going? Are they in alignment? Right? Don't forget, right? Don't go down this rabbit hole. And so I was struggling with that yesterday and last night. And then I was it's 10:10. I was prepared, looking at the videos, because I realized I hadn't prepared the rest. Like I just had everything on automatic. And I didn't prepare the next chapter, if you will. And so I stayed up a little later after I was done with my session and looking through my videos and remembering. I was like, oh, that's right. Oh, that's right. Like that's where I was, right? Not realizing like, wow, that's coming up. Like that next chapter is coming up. The chapter before this chapter, right? if there's the big chapter, because in my past chapters I had to break it down into smaller chapters. So anyways, I'm like, oh snap, like, oh that's right. And reminding myself like, oh, I forgot about that, right? That's just funny for me as I'm reflecting back and reliving these moments and right? So anyways, so this morning I was a little bummed out, like in terms, I was like trying to pep myself up, like, okay, wait, you got this, right? And the good thing, again, I mentioned about tarot, it's what I'm needing to hear. There's always something that I'm needing to take from it. And of course MJ came through and she spoke to that, and it made me think about, okay, wow, like it's been a year, right? it's been a year since all this went down, and this then thinking, you know, in the child development mindset, right? Like a baby, right? Who's coming into this world, and what do they do the first year of life? They cry, they poop, they learn about discomfort, they learn about how to get their needs met by crying, and then they get fed information, and there's this constant need of like being fed, right? And crying. So to a certain degree, this past year, that's what that's been for me. To a certain degree, this crying, clearly, right? A lot of crying. Because there's a lot of healing that needed to be done, and embracing this new world, right? In a way where I'm just like, whoa, this is so like not what I expected, and having to learn little things all over again, and in this new world, right? Because I'm choosing to. It's a choice. I'm choosing to learn more about this world that has been pushed aside from my life. So this first whole year has been about learning lessons, right? About learning lessons. And so now I'm in this new chapter in my life, okay? And then there's this level of awareness. All right, well, what do babies do, right? After about a year, give or take, right? Some babies are a little earlier in their development, and some a little later. But they learn how to walk. They learn how to crawl, and they learn how to walk, right? Within that time period, within that year, into the 2 years, right? They're learning how to crawl and walk. Crawl and walk. I'm like, okay. So as I'm learning these lessons this first year, I'm learning how to crawl again, right? With a new perspective. And I'm now having to learn how to walk, right? With this new perspective. Having to remind myself still, right? Like, I'm gonna have moments where I go down the rabbit hole, but you know what? I don't have to go all the way down. I can pick myself back up, right? And I'm reflecting, what did I do last year? What did I do last year around this time that helped me get through it? What did I do? I had Post-its all over. I had Post-its all over my walls. I had Post-its all over my mirrors, the things that I looked at often. I mean, if you came over during this past year of my life, you saw the amount of Post-its all over my space. And then over the years, I took them off over the course of the year, but that's what you saw. There were Post-its all over. So I'm like, okay, I have them. I saved them, actually. I actually saved them. So I have a bag actually that I'm gonna look through them, but I'm making new ones too. I'm making new ones, and I'm gonna put them in my mirrors and on my walls, and just as a reminder to me, like, don't forget where you came from, right? Don't forget where you came from. Don't forget where you are, and don't forget where you're going. And the most important piece, right, is that I'm worthy of it, deserving of it. I'm deserving of it. I need to remind myself that. I still need to remind myself that. My self-worth. My self-worth. So I'm in that process of redecorating my mirrors and my walls with Post-its for my own sake, right? Because I mean, that's what I tell my clients to do, right? Is we're trying to restructure our mindset. Okay. I'm getting to that point where I'm like, starting to like, no. What do I gotta do? Remember what works. So I had that mindset, meditating, and I'm so grateful for this friend because I did what he suggested, right? I paused, I took a deep breath, purposeful breath, and then I smiled, and I did that a few times to just try to like be present, and it helped. So I tapped in. I saw movement, and at first I wasn't really paying attention to the pattern. I think I was just paying attention to my breathing and looking at the colors and the movement. So there was some movement on the top, but I don't remember what it was because I wasn't paying attention to it. And then I was looking at the waves and how they're moving, and it was more like on the side at first, and then there was this like this radiating from the bottom center, but it wasn't just the bottom center, it was like the whole bottom floor almost radiating up. So it wasn't like actual waves like I've seen them before, or like yesterday I was even reflecting on yesterday's where it was like a separate and then raising up. This was more of like this pulsing all over the bottom, and then it would go to the side, but this is what I remember. That's what I remember. And I think the thing that stood out the most this morning for me was this: take action in the direction of your dreams. This is not the time to passively wait for prosperity to fall on your lap. I'm like, okay, take action, right? So I did. I took action this morning. I took action. And I'm going to keep taking action steps, right? I'm not going to wait for that particular response, although, you know I'm going to be excited when I get that response back, whatever that response may be. But I'm taking action. I'm looking at ways where I can take action for myself, right? Because I am the creator of this moment for myself. I am the creator of what unfolds for myself the rest of the day. And I just need to remember that. And it's all about how I choose to look at the moment. So that's my little pep talk for today. For myself, really. But if any of you need that, there you go. There you go. That was all.
My name is Yubi, and in case you haven't figured it out, this footage is capturing my experience as I learn to navigate my personal spiritual awakening. I am learning that this experience is unique to each one of us. In whatever way we believe we are embracing living our truth, this just happens to be my journey. And despite me having a graduate degree and a license in clinical social work, this by no means is intended to replace any type of mental health advice. This is just me on a personal level, documenting my experience, shedding light on the truth that I am learning and discovering for myself, and really inviting you along for the ride. If by some magical chance you find this content to be helpful in any way, shape, or form, please click the like button, share the message, subscribe to my YouTube channel. I have an Instagram account, a personal one, and one specifically for this channel that you're more than welcome to check out. I'm an open book. I have also created t-shirt designs. I'm wearing my favorite one right now, which is the North Node design, but I have that and other things that you can look at inspired by this process and journey, and I have the link in the description box as well as in the about section of my YouTube channel. So you're more than welcome to check those items out. Any type of support is great. Again, if you find this content really helpful or meaningful, sometimes when we take that step and be vulnerable, with showing what's inside our hearts and what's really our truth, we realize that we're much more connected than what we thought we were. And so I hope that as I'm living this experience and that you find some type of truth for yourself, or find some type of ability to heal in some way just by relating, just by knowing that you're not alone. That really has been my goal with this process, not just being able to connect with others, but really for my own healing. It's definitely been a therapeutic experience and a very creative one for myself. So